Well, hello and welcome to Live on San Angelo Live. My name is Joe Hyde. Topping local news this afternoon, the San Angelo City Council, the members of the San Angelo City Council on Tuesday, that's tomorrow, have what they call a strategic planning meeting, in part to discuss a proposed street use fee of $6.75 that will be added to everyone's water bill. If you're a commercial business, it's even worse. It could be up to $25. For us, it's going to be $25. Some businesses, like the school district, might be billed in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So basically, for average residential customers, an $81 per year increase on every water bill. According to the agenda of the meeting, well, the street use fee could provide more funding for continued and faster street repairs, and also they can do these improvements without increasing property taxes or adding to the debt. The strategic planning workshop includes presentations from the staff on infrastructure, economic development, and public safety. The City Council meets in special session Tuesday afternoon at 3 p.m., and everyone is invited. It's at the McNeese Convention Center. Speaking of using our streets, a bicyclist was hospitalized late Saturday night after he was struck by a pick-em-up truck. Officers at the San Angelo Police Department say the man was traveling on Bell Street, and then around 11 o'clock, he was struck by this pickup truck. On the scene, the police did find what is believed to be inside a substance to be inside a pipe. They think it's methamphetamine. No word yet on the extent of the bicyclist's injuries, or if any arrests have been made. A very successful head shop out of the Lubbock area will be bringing its business to San Angelo. The CEO of Headhunters Smoke Shop, his name is Brian Malrico, confirms that they will be opening their doors sometime next month on Beauregard. Headhunters currently has 6 locations in Lubbock and 1 in Amarillo and 1 in Port Isabel down there by South Padre Island. Meanwhile, in a Wall sophomore who is battling multiple cavernous malfunctions in her head, is back on her feet following a massive brain surgery. Malia Plummer and her family have spent a large portion of this year inside a hospital going through 2 series of surgeries. She just came out of the second series earlier this week, and she is doing fine. In fact, it's been now 149 days since her diagnosis, and during that time, she has had a number of brain surgeries. One of those last week. Now Malia is back home and is showing positive signs. In fact, here's Malia playing wiffle ball with her family on Sunday afternoon. There she is. All right. And finally, Robert Francis O'Rourke, otherwise known as Beto, was in San Angelo over the weekend. He stopped by the VFW Hall to talk about what he plans to do for veterans if he's elected Texas governor. He's in a race right now against our incumbent governor, Republican Greg Abbott. During his speech, O'Rourke got fired up when talking about how Trump voters think of O'Rourke, and warning, though as many Beto did use some colorful language. So you can watch that. We're going to roll the clip right now.
Besides asking to be on the VA, I want you to listen to veterans.
It's coming, I promise.
Veterans who may never have voted for me. Veterans who may have voted for Donald Trump, but grudgingly they'll say, you know what?
The sound's running, but we have Malia.
When he was in office. He fulfilled his commitment. When I called, he answered the phone.
Okay, and while for more on the O'Rourke story, we're going to fix that little thing because we had the sound, but we didn't get the video in. As we're working on that, I'm going to rap a little bit about Beto at the VFW Hall. One of the things I noticed about Beto is he's a very good speaker. He's gotten better over the years. We first met him here in San Angelo in 2017. And are we doing good, Matt? Are you going to find it? Keep rapping? All right, I'm rapping. All right. Anyway, he's gotten better since 2017 when we first met him. We think he's, if you're a Democrat, you'd be happy to say he's more Obama-esque. I think he's going to really, really give Abbott a go for the position. He's going to raise a lot of money. And remember last time, Abbott flipped 3 of our appellate courts from Republican to Democrat. We lost 19 Republican judges in our state appellate level courts. So that could happen again. So he's a strong candidate. Meanwhile, for more of the O'Rourke story, stay tuned for this full video after our interview with candidate for Railroad Commissioner Sarah Stogner. We're going to take a short break right now. We'll be right back. I'm Joe Hyde with Live.
27 years ago, I began my law enforcement career right here as a jailer. Now, as the patrol lieutenant for the Tom Green County Sheriff's Office, I have made it my mission to serve our community.
That's why I'm running for Justice of the Peace, to use my knowledge and my experience of criminal and civil law to serve the people of Precinct 3. You deserve a JP who understands mental health issues, has experience in records, warrants, and affidavits, along with a proven law enforcement career.
Fair justice you can count on. Stacy Speck for Tom Green County Justice of the Peace, Precinct 3.
The safety of your family and your home is what matters the most.
We can improve your public safety in the county by better supporting the volunteer fire departments.
These brave men and women need better equipment and better facilities, and by doing so, we can lower the cost of living outside the city limits.
Tom Green County needs a judge with the ideas and experience to execute this plan.
I'm Lane Carter, and I'm ready to serve you as your next Tom Green County judge.
And we are here on at the political desk on the last day before Election Day, and I am thrilled to have Sarah Stogner here. Sarah, you are a candidate for Tom Green County. I get so used to saying that. For Texas Railroad Commission, and in the GOP in the Republican runoff, which is tomorrow. You made that runoff, and we are glad you're here. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This is a lot of folks, don't know what the Railroad Commission does, and there are 3 statewide offices that are having runoffs in the Republican primary. Yours is one of them, and then there's Attorney General and
Land Commissioner.
Land Commissioner, thank you. Yeah, Don Buckingham was here last week. How did we get here? How do we get to a runoff?
Yeah, look, I mean, we had 5 of us on the ballot March 1st, and my entire platform since the beginning was anybody but Wayne, right? I mean, the 4 people that challenged him were all oil and gas professionals, and it's time for change. And I think that he barely made it, right? We barely missed it, but he's been losing popularity, and I've been gaining popularity. So I feel really, really good going in tomorrow. We just need people to show up and vote tomorrow.
That's right, and I've watched politics for a while, and in the statewide races and for statewide offices, it's the Republicans have held every one of them since 1994, so it's been a long time, and there's sort of there's a pecking order. And there are people lined up to be the next railroad commissioner, to be the next attorney general, and that you come from outside that process, and you've risen so fast that now you are a contender for a statewide office in an unconventional way. Now, a lot of that was social media. So let's how did you get here?
Yeah, so I announced that I decided to run in early December, right? Got my paperwork in at the very last minute. January 1st, we had that geyser that sprung up in Crane that was the visual, 150 feet up in the air. We were talking before we went on air, right? That in today's age, people are swiping, and if you don't catch their attention in the first couple of seconds, they're swiping on to something else. And so we started getting traction with that geyser because it was visually stunning. It looked like Old Faithful, except it's saltwater brine from oil and gas, not pretty clean geyser water, right? And then Super Bowl Sunday, I released my infamous, stunt video. And since then, I've just really been, the whole time, I've been going really hard to show up at Republican events where I can. I've been across the state. I've put 27,000 miles on my expedition since January, right? We've been in El Paso, we've been in McAllen, we've been in Amarillo, we've been in Texarkana, and everywhere in between. And I think what I'm seeing is people are tired of politicians not looking out for all Texans. And
Right.
the incumbent, he's pay to play. He's a career-long politician. He's 70-something years old. Time to go retire, play some golf, and play with your grandbabies, right? I'm 37. I'm a lawyer. I live in the Permian, and I'm ready to fight for Texas.
Well, and I wanted to talk about that. You have pivoted to specific issues, and you know your stuff. I mean, following statewide politics, and to hear you talk about oil and gas, you've been an oil and gas attorney for 14 years?
Yes, sir.
And it seems like the issues that come up, you've got a solution for, and the determination to get that done.
Yeah, look, I don't have all the answers, but I've got a lot of questions, and thankfully, we've got a lot of great subject matter experts, right? I want to get in there. I want to help us stop having earthquakes. I want to help figure out our groundwater issues. I want to make sure that 1/3 of our economy is based on the oil and gas industry, right? If Texas was a standalone nation, we'd be the 3rd largest producer of oil and gas in the world.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that's with great responsibility, right? Comes, or with great, what is it? We've got a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
And we have to do it the right way. And we can. We just need to enforce the regulations that are on the books so that the good operators that are out there that are working towards net zero, that are, right, achieving great carbon capture things, right? No one wants to talk about all the great things that we've been doing in the oil and gas industry, but we have to do it the right way.
That's correct. And once you get past the primary, let's look ahead a little bit. There is a dynamic that exists in the Railroad Commission that is sort of unique to Texas and unique to politics, in that there are 3 railroad commissioners. Wayne, of course, is the incumbent in this race, but you've also got Jim Wright, who is, I think, been there since 2020, and then Christy Craddock, who's been there since 2012. So the 3, there's got to be a really good working relationship between those 3 commissioners.
Yeah, I think it's been too cozy, right? We've got 2 meetings every month that are supposed to be open to the public. And by law, they're not allowed to talk to each other outside of a public meeting.
Okay.
But you'll have an agenda with 400 items, and
Right.
they're in and out in 28 minutes. Well, there's no substantive discussion happening in that 28 minutes, right? That's a dog and pony show.
Yeah.
And I want to get in there, and I want to look at the facts, let the subject matter experts do their jobs, right? Like, they've got administrative law judge, they have an entire adjudicatory process, and let's let those come through, and let's make sure that landowners, all stakeholders, are included in the conversation, because these issues are too important to be behind closed doors when they impact all of us.
That's right. Now, this in traditional primary runoff elections, the voter turnout is dismal. It really is. How do you get folks to the polls? I know here in Tom Green County we have 3 local runoffs, which is unusual. We've got a justice of the peace, a county commissioner, and a county judge runoff, and that's going to help, I think, generate enough interest to get some turnout locally. What about statewide? How do you get people to the polls again?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I voted early in Ward County. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember. I think Tuesday. And she said that they had 8 people vote early Monday, and that I was the 4th on Tuesday. Now, granted, it was 9 o'clock in the morning, so it was still early. And it's a very small county, right? But at the same time, I'm hopeful that we've got enough people in the oil and gas industry, 350,000 plus people in Texas, that realize how important it is. Those of us in the industry, they all back me, right?
Yeah,
There's a
right.
select noisy few that are paying for PACs and backing my opponent. But those of us that are out there every day in the oil fields, living and breathing and drinking the water, and we're on these roads, we know about flaring because we live with it.
Right.
And we understand that we need the industry, but we want it done right. And so I think that there's motivation. I've been getting text messages just before we walked in, right? Somebody said, I voted for you yesterday, my parents voted for you today, and I got 3 college kids that have never voted in a primary runoff to go and vote. So I'm hopeful that we just need people to show up and not be discouraged, that it really is every vote matters, right? And if
Right.
you've only got 5%, then your 1 vote counts for 20.
That's
so
right.
It's really important to get people out.
That's exactly right. And in this, very short time since the primary on March 1st, you've been endorsed by almost every major newspaper in Texas.
Which apparently is a curse in the Republican Party. I got the other day, you're endorsed by the Chronicle. They only endorse liberals. I'm not. Like, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Exactly.
You know? But yes, all the major newspapers have endorsed me. Barstool Sports has endorsed me. Walton and Johnson has endorsed me. So.
Well, and I know that, and you've heard this before, that the Wayne Christian strategy, the incumbent strategy, is or one of their lines is, oh well, the incumbent is more likely to win against the other guys that are running in November.
Which is so not true.
And you've proven that. I mean, to gain the support that you've got. This is the point in time where I step away from the mic and I don't ask any questions. This is where you get to talk to our audience, your message unfiltered, Sarah Stogner, to the voters of this Concho Valley. We got about 65,000 of them, so take as long as you need. What's your message to the voters this last day before Election Day?
Yeah, I think thank you, right? I couldn't have gotten here without the voters to begin with. So thank you for watching. Thank you for asking. Thank you for caring. I'm humbled. I really am humbled by the outpouring of support, and God works in mysterious ways. So here we are. Follow your heart. I ask people to do their research. I understand I am not everyone's cup of tea, right? I make the analogy that I'm a lot like black licorice. People have very strong feelings one way or the other. But, I love this. I love Texas. I love this industry. I live in the Permian Basin. I used to have a lake house on Lake Nasworthy. I love this area, right? And I want to make sure that our economy is vibrant and that we prevent federal intervention. And we need someone with industry expertise, not a Grammy-nominated gospel singer. He has no oil and gas experience. I'm an oil and gas lawyer. I'm a mom. I'm a Christian. I'm very fiscally conservative. I really am. I'm asking for the opportunity to get in there for 6 years and make a difference for all Texans. So please get out and vote.
And you mentioned on social media that it's just 6 years.
Yes.
So we're looking at. You even said, I hope you find somebody to replace me.
Please.
In 6 years. The term limits.
Yes. Oh. Yes. Let's get term limits. Let's get right. Look. No matter what happens tomorrow, I now know too much to not take action, right? God puts us in unique situations, and he gives us an opportunity to talk. And evil persists when good men do nothing. And so I'm here to stay involved and educated and to try to get the vote out. But no, I'm not going. I have no other political aspirations. I don't want to be governor. Just let me get in, help fix the oil and gas, and go back to playing with the dogs on the ranch with my daughter.
There we go. Sarah, thank you so much for being here, and best of luck tomorrow and on down the road.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
While you're here, this gives me the perfect opportunity to say tomorrow is Election Day, and the polls here will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We have the 3 local runoff elections. Again, that's County Judge, County Commissioner Precinct 4, and Justice of the Peace in Precinct 3. We have your race for Railroad Commissioner. We have the race for Land Commissioner, and we have the race for Attorney General. So there are 6 very, very important races on the Republican ballot in Tom Green County. There is a Democrat ballot where they have runoffs for statewide offices as well, and we want those people to vote their way, and the winners will meet in November, and we'll see what happens.
Maybe they'll see the light and join the Republican Party. We've got a really big tent.
We do. And that also brings up our next segment. We are going to an interview that Robert Francis O'Rourke was in San Angelo over the weekend, and our Manny Diaz was there and files the following report.
Well, I hope they didn't buy a T-shirt.
Win political power so that we can do these things. And then we have to govern. And we've got so important. We're going to have some consensus. We won't win every fight. We won't be able to get done everything that we've set out to achieve. but I know that we can do better. I really have faith and trust in the people of Texas. And yes, that also includes Republicans in the state of Texas. So first things first, we've got to win this election, right? We have to win political power so that we can do these things. And then we have to govern, and we've got to serve everybody.
It is so important to be in San Angelo, to be in Abilene, to be in Abernathy and Childress and Pampa, and all the places that Democrats typically fear to tread, and so they don't show up. And when Democrats don't show up to contest with ideas and a track record and a vision, then Republicans, frankly, don't have to show up either, because the election will go uncontested. And then those folks in those communities really don't get the representation or the accountability that they deserve.
For those of you who have kids, my kids are my conscience. And I may win or lose this race. I'm always going to have to face them and answer for what I've done or failed to do when I had the chance to do something. And I just took the position that may not be politically popular, may be too honest, that not only should no one be able to purchase an AR-15 or an AK-47 because they're designed to kill humans, and that high-impact, high-velocity round will just tear up everything inside. You'll bleed out before we can get you back to life. But I don't think that the people who have them right now in civilian use should be able to keep them.
I'm showing up everywhere to listen to everyone, and it doesn't matter to me if they're Republicans or Democrats, because before we're any of those things, we are Texans. And as the governor of this great state, I want to make sure that I'm able to deliver for everyone. And listen, we may be a red state, we may be trending to be a purple state, but more than anything, we are a non-voting state today. And if we want to get people to vote in these elections, we've got to show up for them and go to where they are. So today at this VFW post in San Angelo, I'm showing up for people to talk about an important issue that affects almost everyone in the state of Texas, and that is delivering for the veterans who put their lives on the line for all of us.
Let me just tell you, I've been in that environment in the past. I've been a lowly member of Congress against the vast majority and a president of another party, and we still found a way to get it done.
My name is Beto O'Rourke, and I'm running to be the governor of Texas.
Besides asking to be on the VA, I want you to listen to veterans in El Paso. Veterans who may never have voted for me. Veterans who may have voted for Donald Trump, but grudgingly they'll say, you know what? That fucker got stuff done for us when he was in office. He fulfilled his commitment. When I called, he answered the phone.
There are three big ideas that I cannot wait to work on as governor. They're going to make this the best state to retire to live in, to raise a family, and to start a business in as a veteran. First is ending veterans' homelessness in the state of Texas. There are thousands of veterans experiencing homelessness right now. We can build the housing, we can connect them to the resources, we can provide wraparound services to end veterans' homelessness in the first year of my administration. Next, the second issue is improving access to mental health care and reducing veteran suicide in the state of Texas. Again, we've got the resources to do this, and there are a lot of smart things working with the Department of Health and Human Services here in the state of Texas, ending the prohibition on cannabis, so veterans who right now have to rely on an opioid for medication can legally be able to buy cannabis to treat conditions like PTSD without being addicted or dying from the drugs that they're taking. And then making sure that we're doing everything we can to improve access to the VA for those who don't have mental health care right now. And the third thing that I'm looking forward to being able to do is making sure that we help the current generation of veterans coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, especially those exposed to toxic burn pits. We're going to start a burn pit registry in the state of Texas that is fully funded. We're going to push to pass the PACT Act at the federal level with the full weight of the people of the state of Texas. And then we're going to make sure that we make accommodations for anyone who's come back with exposure if they want to work for the state government, to make sure that they can work that job, provide for their families, and be respected for the service that they provided to this country.
I also think, to your point, it's the perfect contrast to the people who are in leadership right now. They are hell-bent on dividing us based on our differences. Your kid's transgender? Okay, well, we're going to prosecute you for child abuse and take that kiddo from your home. You're a school teacher? You can only teach this kind of history because I don't trust you. And by the way, when you retire, I'm not going to adjust your cost of living for more than 20 years almost, right? It's 18 years, but almost 20 years. the division over abortion, this proposed Don't Say Gay bill, these culture war issues, you don't have to focus on that stuff. It's the choice of the governor. You call the tune.
Listen, I'm here at this VFW post in San Angelo, and after we finished the town hall, a young woman came up to me, and she said, you know, I served this country in Iraq. I was willing to lose my life for the United States of America and for this Constitution. And she said, I want to know what you, Beto, are going to do about my constitutional right to make my own decisions about my own body. And she's like the majority of us here in Texas. We want to make sure that we protect a woman's right to make her own decisions about her health care, her future, and her body. Most of us disagree with Greg Abbott's total ban on abortion, beginning at conception, with no exception for rape or incest. Not only does that fly in the face of the Constitution and the service that this woman that I just met provided for this country, but it will make worse an epidemic of maternal mortality that we have right here in the state of Texas. Let's make sure that we're healthy enough and well enough to live to our full potential. Let's make sure that we stop the attacks on women. And for those who say they care about life, let's care about life at every single stage, including those kids who are in the foster care system right now, 100 of whom we lost last year in the custody and care of the state of Texas. Let's care about everybody's lives.
Does not matter to me. No me importa who votes for me, votes for the other person, doesn't vote at all. As governor, I got to serve everybody. That's my responsibility. That's your expectation for me or anyone that you place into this position of public trust.
We are so fortunate in the state of Texas to have the natural resources and the energy reserves in this state that power so much of this country and really so much of the rest of the world. And I'm grateful for those who work in the oil and gas industry specifically, because they've also guaranteed our independence from the rest of the world. And at a time right now where the independence of other countries, including in Europe, is threatened, Texas and the energy resources we have right here could be a big part of the answer. It's also connected to high-paying, high-value, high-skilled jobs that we have here in West Texas in the Permian Basin. I want to protect those oil and gas jobs. They've literally secured the energy independence of this country. I'm proud of the men and women who work in them, and I want to make sure that right now, when the world needs the energy that we're producing in Texas, that we're providing it. And it's going to require those oil and gas workers who are doing such important work in the state of Texas.